six, seven.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to At America. With me, Hasna, one of the guests here in At America. For those of you who are new here and have no idea what At America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn about the United States. Today, we are delighted to welcome all audiences joining us in another episode of The Language of Conducting Meetings. But before we begin, we have a social media quiz for you. And the question for today is: true or false, body language is not important in conducting meetings. You may type in your answer at any time during the session on our social media platform. The lucky one who can guess the answer correctly will get a live shout out from us by the end of this event. Other than that, if you have any questions or comments during the session, feel free to type it into the social media platforms or Zoom chat box session. All right, with that, allow me to invite our facilitator for today's session, an English instructor and materials developer for ESP, English for Specific Purposes. Ibu Hafilia, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah. Hello. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for those of you who are joining also here on site, and for those of you who may be joining us in Zoom or our live streaming, okay, on YouTube. And I think sometimes some people are joining through our Instagram, our Twitter, okay. So today we continue with the English for Specific Purposes series. And today we are now moving on to the language of meetings. Okay. If you have been following us, specifically this series, for I think almost a month now, okay, we started with the language for sales and marketing, and then we went on to the language for presentations and negotiations, and now we are now moving on to the language of meetings. You will recall, okay, many things that have been discussed previously, yeah, during when I'm talking about, discussing about this. Now, first of all, first and foremost, just to make sure that you understand that there are roles and functions of people attending meetings. Of course, the most important is the leader, okay? Or we usually call the person, this is a very normal term that we use, the chair. Who is chairing the meeting, for example? It could be a chairwoman, it could be a chairman, or maybe just a chairperson. But we call the leader usually the chair of the meeting. And of course, we have the note taker and the timekeeper and the participants. Something that you must remember, that it is the leader who conducts, of course, determines, right? Determines the meeting location, the time, the venue, and of course has the agenda. What's the agenda? What are we going to talk about? Is it going to take 90 minutes? Is it going to take 60 minutes? Is it going to be like a workshop? There is a big interaction among the participants, all right? And guides through the agenda. As I said before, some meetings requires the participants to be very interactive. And so the leader or the chairperson must then give a lot of prompts, okay, and outline the agenda at the very beginning, asking them to be very interactive, okay? The leader or the chair, okay, of the meeting also ensures that there is interaction. That's what we call ensuring opportunities, okay, equal speaking opportunities, right? If we want the meeting to be a two-way process and not just one way, okay, so we need to ensure that there are a lot of speaking activities, and that depends on the time that's allotted. You can have a 90-minute meeting, but then you're thinking of, I'm just going to introduce the topic and I'm just going to give examples of what we're facing now, and that'll take only 30 minutes. So the 1 hour will be a lot of interaction between the participants. Okay. The chair needs to decide that beforehand. The chairperson also needs to maintain a positive, a safe atmosphere. We do not want people to end up fighting in a meeting, although there are cases, situations in which this happen. Yeah, we will of course have to assign, the chairperson have to assign who's going to be the note taker, who's going to be the timekeeper, okay, and communicate the conclusions, okay, communicate the conclusions and the next step, right? Responsibilities and action items. Usually when I chair meetings, then I need to make sure that I need an overhead projector. If not, I said, forget about overhead. I'm not going to give them any slides because this is a discussion. The meeting is going to be a lot of discussion, all right? Sometimes I need flip charts because I'm going to explain something in which I have to draw, okay? And so I make sure I need a meeting room in which there is a whiteboard or there is a flip chart if there is no whiteboard available. So assign responsibilities and action items and sets the next meeting date if there is a follow-up meeting. Now, the chair, of course, so we're going to go through the most important function in a meeting, the most important role when we conduct meetings, which is, of course, the chairperson's role. All right? Now, but I'm going to go over just quickly on the other roles. We have what we call the recorder, which is the note taker. Yeah? Now, these days, you can easily go to apps in the Google sites, right? Which has meeting notes. And so the template is already there, digital, and all you have to do as a note keeper is just fill in the template. You don't really need to write everything down, okay? Just the key, make sure that we develop that what we record as a timekeeper is the decisions, the key decisions, the conclusions, and of course, action items. What must be followed up, right? Because in meetings, sometimes then the chair will then assign people to follow through on certain issues, and we need the note keeper to keep that in mind so that it will be followed through. Okay. Compile notes into standard formatting. This is what I'm talking about now. With formats, you have it ready. Templates, right? You have it ready. Digital templates. You just need to select which one is something that fits your meeting agenda. Okay, and of course, don't forget to distribute the notes and conclusions. I've been in meetings in which Then we don't have, I know that there is a timekeeper taking the notes. Sorry, there is a note taker keeping the notes. Yeah. But then it's not distributed after, like, what happened to the results of the meeting? What did we talk about? Who are assigned for follow through? Now, if the document is not properly distributed, then no follow up, no follow through is going to take place. Or if the people are assigned and they do, okay, they do the follow through, right? But then again, we will not be able to monitor. Yeah. So the note taker is not just responsible during the meeting, but it's the administrative works that comes along after the meeting. Also perform, and this is something that we remember, if we have 4 people in the meeting, that means how many participants are there actually? Think about it. We have 4 people in the meeting. Of course, we have the leader of the meeting, which is the chairperson, right? Now, and then the chairperson already assigned a timekeeper and a note taker. Does it mean that there is only one participant? 4 minus leader or chairperson minus timekeeper minus note taker. That means there's only one. Absolutely wrong, because the note keeper and the timekeeper are also the participants. Okay, they are also taking part in the meeting. They are listening. They are also giving opinion when asked, and of course, they're jotting down. Okay, important again, key decisions. So usually, note keepers are people who are very good at multitasking. In a way, we don't want the note keeper to get distracted. Okay, because we are talking and he's also he also has to give an opinion. He also has to contribute, and that can distract the job, the role of keeping notes. So we don't want to distract the person. So what we need is a person who can multitask, following what's going on, taking part in the discussion, contributing when asked, asking questions, but at the same time, jotting down all the factors there, records, key decisions, conclusions, and action items. Okay? Now, let's move on to the roles and functions of the timekeeper. Okay, this is what happens. Yeah. As I'm sitting here now, for your information, I don't have a timekeeper giving me signals. Sometimes I do have timekeepers just giving me signals that 5 minutes is up. I mean, I have 5 more minutes to go. I have 10 more minutes to go. This is what I am trying to do in my meetings, my own meetings. Okay, is that when we use PowerPoint or anything, yeah, if we don't even use PowerPoint, we try to put an alarm clock. We put a clock that's very visible to everyone in the meeting. All right. And if the chair said we have set this meeting for 1 hour, we're not going to have time to talk more or to discuss, have the meeting more than 1 hour, because we have other agendas, we have other schedules. All right. So we need to put a timer. Yeah. And now it is very possible. Okay. It's possible when you do your when we have a PowerPoint, for example, okay, then what we can do is put the automatic timer there. Whoever is leading will be able to monitor him or herself without the timekeeper reminding. Okay, so now it's very automatic. It is a new era that we should use. Okay, as I'm sitting here, I'm looking at a big clock over there. We have the digital clock, so I know that it's been 1 hour. Okay, I have 1 hour left and 2 minutes and 29 seconds. I have a timer, which I can see, very visual, and I need to control myself, right? So my suggestion is, please have a visual or a very visual clock, whether it is on the screen if you're using PowerPoint, if you're using the projector. If not, then make sure that you have a clock and it's set. The alarm is set for 90 minutes. If there's a person who's supposed to talk only for 20 minutes in the meeting, then set it for 20 minutes. But it's got to be visual, countdown, so that every member will be responsible for their own timing. Okay? Now, the timekeeper actually does not only keep the time, but we can, of course, assign the timekeeper also to manage the visuals. Like I said, what do I need for the meeting? Okay. Maybe there are handouts that needs to be distributed previously. So the timekeeper can also do that. And again, reminder that the timekeeper is also the participant of the meeting. And the last, of course, is the participant. As a participant, we are expected, of course, to listen. Okay. We're expected to engage ourselves, pay attention, understand what's going on, understand the agenda, understand the rules if it is set, yeah, by the chair. Contributes to the positive and safe atmosphere. Just like when you are attending a presentation. In my talk, I think I discuss a lot about be a very good listener, be a very good participant, okay? Help, assist, support the presenter who is standing in front of you, okay? We need to give that positive vibes. So as participants of a meeting, we also need to give that positive vibes, okay? Your facial expression will show smile, nod, just to give this the whoever is speaking, whoever is leading, give the impression and also give the signal that you are listening and you are attending, not just physically, but your mind and your heart is there. Present ideas concisely. Now, with business meetings will not last more than, like, I think the most is 2 hours. Yeah. It depends on the topic, it depends on the subject and the urgency to find a solution right away. Okay. I usually have my meetings where I'm trying to have my meetings for an hour. And that's very difficult because sometimes when we get into a discussion, one of the participants is very interactive, very enthusiastic, but goes overboard, explaining details that we don't need to understand, we don't need to know. Okay? We just need to know, so what is the solution? What is the problem? How can we help? But really do not need to go to details. And sometimes there are participants in meetings that really go to details. That's why I said timer. You have to have a timer. Okay? And have the artificial intelligence saying time's up. Meaning that when you hear the word, when you hear the phrase time's up, it automatically stops. That means you have to move on to another, maybe, participant. Yeah? Okay. That's why the last one is very important. Present ideas concisely with awareness of the meeting's time constraints. Remember, this goes for meetings internally at the office, goes for meetings with your clients, especially meetings with your clients. We know that your clients will have other agenda, and we do not want to keep them from the agenda. Okay? Now, so what exactly does a chairperson do? Of course, the person has to welcome, right, the participants. Just the regular good morning, good afternoon. Hi, everybody. Okay, good to see you. How is everybody doing? Everybody okay? Okay, that regular small talk. Number two, structure it, be organized. Yeah, small chit chat. Okay, so how are things? How is the project going? You can have a small chit chat, not more than like 3 minutes, just to lighten up the atmosphere and get everybody settled down. We usually start, of course, again, then comes the stating the purpose and the aims. Why are we here? Why did I call a meeting? You have read it in the agenda, but what is the key decisions that we have to make? What are the problems that arise? Okay, stating the purpose, why we are here, and the aims, the result. Okay, outlining the agenda very clearly, and of course being very empathetic in terms of checking whether everybody understands, whether everybody whether there are things that need to be asked, need to be clarified or verified. So I'm going to ask all of you to listen to this, okay, and tell me whether the person included all this. Okay, this is the chair. I think it's a chair lady, and tell me whether the chair, right, included all this in the opening.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. I must say it's great to see you all again, and I'm really looking forward to our time together over the next 2 days. This is a terrific opportunity for us to share our ideas and concerns, and for you to give your input into the planning process, which is going to shape the future of this company. I don't expect us all to agree on everything, but I want our discussions to be conducted in a spirit of openness and honesty. This morning, we're going to review the past year in terms of how far we have achieved targets set. The purpose is to evaluate our results and to hear about both the successes and the difficulties you've experienced. So by the end of this morning's session, we'll be in a position to make a realistic assessment of last year's results so that we can use it to inform our planning going forward. First things first, though, do you all know each other? I'm going to ask you to say a few words about yourselves by way of introduction. Shall we go round the table?
Me first? Okay. Well, for those who don't know me, my name's Juanita Garcia, and I've been working as Center Manager Madrid for the past 2 years. I'm responsible for...
Okay. So, did you hear any greetings welcoming the participants? I'm sure you did, right? Did you hear her stating the purpose, the aims? I'm sure you did. Did she outline the agenda? What's going to happen? Did she check understanding? Okay. Now I'm going to ask you. Her name is Jane Wang. Actually, the chair person that you just heard. All right. So I'm going to. This is your listening skills. Okay. This is your English listening skills. I'm going to ask you to tell me which one is the correct one and which one is not correct or true or false. Okay? So, one more time. Has Jane Wang met all the participants before? You will notice this on the way she greet the meeting attendance. All right? So listen carefully. And how long will the meeting last? Remember that as a chair, when you start the meeting and you have to tell the participants how long it's going to last, even though it's already usually in the invite. Yeah? Okay. The meeting will influence the company's future strategies. This, of course, concerns the purpose, the aims, and what does she hope as a chair? Does she want everyone to agree on something? Or she hopes everyone will agree? There is a difference when you say, we all must agree. There must be a consensus. Okay? But if she hopes, it means that, well, there might be a disagreement, but it's like she gives the atmosphere, yeah, an atmosphere of like, we can still discuss it. And we hope that we can agree. Okay? The meeting will consider the company's results for the last 12 months. Got to listen to the purpose and the aim. So suppose you are now the participants of Jane Wang's meeting. Okay? You are participating. You are there. What did you understand from her introduction? This is a normal pace English. Okay? A normal pace English speaking. So if you're attending a meeting, you need to know all this. And let's again hear it. As a participant, remember, as a participant, your responsibility is to understand, yeah? Why are we here? What is expected of me as a participant? So can we just listen to this one more time and let's figure out which one is true, which one is false, from number 1 to number 8.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. I must say it's great to see you all again, and I'm really looking forward to our time together over the next 2 days.
Can you answer number 1 already? You think so? Those of you who are here, is it true or false? Number 1, what do you think? If you think it's true, just raise your hands. If you think it's false, just go like this. Jane Wang has met all the participants before? Yes or no? Yes? Okay, how do you know? Right? So, someone in the audience said, she has met the participants before, right? How do you know that? How do you know that? Listen again. This is the greetings, yeah? The greetings. So how do you greet people that you already know in a meeting? Okay?
I must say it's great to see you all again, and I'm really looking forward to our time together over the next 2 days. This is a terrific opportunity.
What did she say? I'm really happy to see you again. That means she already knows the people attending the meeting. So that's a way of greeting participants who you already know. It's not the usual hello, good afternoon, right? Hey, hi guys, how are you doing? It's you tend to be informal, all right, when you know people. Okay, what about the meeting? Will it last for 3 hours? Did you catch that? She said about, I'm really looking forward. Okay, so I'll move it back a little.
Looking forward to our time together over the next 2 days.
This is going to be a long meeting, right? How long? 2 days. So, the meeting will influence the company's future strategies.
This is a terrific opportunity for us to share our ideas and concerns, and for you to give your input into the planning process, which is going to shape the future of this company. I don't expect us all to...
Future of the companies? Okay. Now, Jane Wang hopes, or does she insist we have to agree on the future of the company? Okay? Listen.
Future of this company. I don't expect us all to agree on everything, but I want our discussions to be conducted in a spirit of openness and honesty.
What do you think? Must they agree? I understand that we will not agree on everything. So that means number 4. What do you think? But I want an openness. So, is it true or false for number 4? Any ideas? It's false? Let's see. Yeah, because she said it's an openness. I do not expect everyone to agree on everything. So she already predicted there's going to be difference of opinion. And she's saying it's okay as long as it is in the spirit. So she's keeping, remember, she's keeping the environment, the meeting environment safe. Yeah? She's not aggressive. She's saying, okay, we'll probably disagree on the company's future, but let's just keep it on the spirit of the best for our company. Okay. Now, the meeting will consider the company's results for the last 12 months. Again, this is the aim, yeah? The aim.
It's to be conducted in a spirit of openness and honesty. This morning, we're going to review the past year in terms of how far we have achieved targets set. The purpose.
Is that correct? The meeting will consider the company's results for the last 12 months. How far? Yeah, in the past year, she said. Okay? So that's another phrase that you can use when you want to state something that happened already 12 months ago up till now. So we're saying the past year, right? And the purpose, does she want the participants to share a positive as well as negative points? Or does she want the participants, don't talk about the negative points, let's just be positive about it. Let's listen carefully and listen to the way she's saying that.
The past year in terms of how far we have achieved targets set. The purpose is to evaluate our results and to hear about both the successes and the difficulties you've experienced.
What do you think? Positive and negative? Yeah. Look at the way she paraphrased, yeah? So you can say, we want to hear, okay, or I want to hear the positive and negative points during the last year. Yeah. Or you can say, she didn't say the positive and negative. She said, this is paraphrasing.
And the difficulties you've experienced.
Hold on.
The purpose is to evaluate our results and to hear about both the successes and the difficulties you've experienced.
The successes, meaning that's positive, and the difficulties, meaning that's the negative. It is very, very common now. These are the buzzwords that's being used in business. Challenges. We don't want to say difficulties. We want to say challenges. Okay? That's a term. That's a term that keeps on coming, keeps on coming. Okay, the challenges. And when we talk about positive, it's the good, your success stories. What successes did we experience in the past 12 months? Okay, yeah. And Jane Wang introduces all the participants.
So by the end of this morning's session, we'll be in a position to make a realistic assessment of last year's results so that we can use it to inform our planning going forward. First things first, though. Do you all know each other? I'm going to ask you to say a few words about yourselves by way of introduction. Shall we go round the table?
Me first? Okay. Well, for those who don't know me, my name's Juanita Garcia, and I've been working as Center Manager Madrid for the past 2 years. I'm responsible.
Did Jane Wang introduce everyone? No. Right? Instead, she asked Why don't you introduce yourselves? Yeah? Jane Wang introduced all the participants. This is not true because, and the phrase is, if you want other people to introduce themselves, please introduce yourself. Say something about yourself. Okay? And remember, time. That's why you have to time them. And the first one to introduce was Juanita. Okay, we are now in an international setting, yeah. So in Spanish we don't say the J sound. It's not Juanita or Juanita. It's Hua. It's the H sound. Juanita Garcia. Okay, Garcia, who works in Mexico City. She doesn't work in Mexico City. Where does she work?
And I've been working as center manager Madrid for the past 2 years. I'm responsible.
Did you hear Mexico City? No. Okay. Yeah. You heard another place, which is where? Yeah, but it doesn't matter because then it's not Mexico City. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. Now, if you were going to welcome, right? If you were going to welcome the participants, now you are chairing the meeting. Which of the following words and phrases would you use? Thanks for coming. Okay, I'm going to ask you to read that. And I'm going to ask you to, I'll give you some time, maybe just 1 minute to think about this. Which phrase are you going to select, to choose? This is your fluency. This is your English fluency. Okay? Just 1 minute. And afterwards, I think we will see the corrected version. And you can share. Okay. Yep. Done. Okay. Okay, guys. Anyone? Anyone wants to try? And just which we have a mic. Can we have a mic? Okay, who wants to try? Let's just do it one sentence at a time. All right. Uh, okay. So who wants to try? We have a volunteer. Thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone. Thanks for coming and welcoming, because it's parallel, in my opinion.
Okay. So you said hi everyone. Thanks for coming and welcoming or welcome.
Um, if I refer to the parallel sentence, it's
Mm-hmm.
using ing, verb ing.
But you are for coming. Okay, coming is the activity to come, right?
Yeah.
And so the activity, when you want to, you use the word welcome. Actually, you welcome some and welcome. you are welcoming someone, but you said welcome, right? Okay. You want to try the second one? Let's try the second one. Good. Can we try the second one first?
First, I'll go over what we hope to achieve in this morning session.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, great. I hope those of you at home or watching this streaming, then you see that the first one is hi everyone, thanks for coming and welcome. First, I'll go over. Okay, go over means that you're going to review something. Go over what we hope to achieve in this morning session. And we have another volunteer here. Is there any other? Go ahead. Can we continue?
Okay. Right. As you know, we are discussing ideas to improving quality control. And we'll start by brainstorming ideas for 50 minutes in small group of 3.
Done.
Okay.
One more time, one more time. Remember, okay, we'll start. Where are we then? Right. As you know, great, we are discussing ideas. Be careful. Improving. For improving or to? Do you say for improving or to improving?
I said 2.
When
Huh?
you have a to
Yeah.
in front, ini shortcut ya. This is shortcut. When you have a to in front and then you have a verb at the end, it's always
For.
infinitive.
Yeah,
So you can say to, but then you have to change the improving, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are discussing ideas to improve.
To improve.
Mm-mm.
For
But
improving.
because of we have used the word improving, so that means we use
Ideas for.
improving. Yeah, that's up to you. That's up to you. You want to say to improve or for improving. Great. But for this, then it's for improving quality control. We'll start in or we'll start by brainstorming.
Start by.
By. Because that's the way, yeah?
Yes, the way.
How? Brainstorming ideas for 15 minutes in
In small
Small-
groups of 3.
the first one, right?
Yeah, the first one.
Good. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, in small groups of 3. Do not double it because then it'll be redundant if you use small groups of 3s. Okay? Either you say group of 3s or groups of 3. Okay? And then the last one. Anyone here? Okay, let's just do it together then. After that, each group will present. Okay, remember, after will present. Which one is correct? The first one or the second one? Spelling. The second or the first? Second one, yeah? Its ideas. Remember that it's, the first one is it is. But if the idea belongs to someone, then its ideas with an S. And then I'll ask you vote or to vote. Ask, vote. You have two verbs. There are 2 verbs. Ask, vote or ask to vote. When we have 2 verbs, put a 2 in the middle. Again, this is a shortcut. Okay. Ask you to vote. Right? Ask you to answer. Ask you to listen. Shortcut. Ask you to vote for the best 3. Finally, what do we say? Do you know the expression? We'll draw up a plan of action or we have a double will there, yeah? We'll draw on a plan of action. What's the expression? When you make something, draw up, draw on. This is the collocation. Draw up or draw on. Take a good guess. Take a good guess. First one or second one? The first one. Draw on. Draw up. To draw up means to make, to create. You draw up a plan of action. And of course, checking understanding. Is that clear? Okay. Which one? We will get starting or get started. One or two? Number two. We will get started. Okay? Okay. Yeah? So, and this counts, yeah? Because when you're making too many, you're making like too many mistakes, then again, the participants will not really understand what you're saying. That's why it's important for you to at least be 70% correct. Gitu loh. Okay? So this was the correct answer. Hi everyone, thanks for coming and welcome. First, I'll go over what we hope to achieve in this morning's session. Right. As you know, we are discussing ideas for improving quality control. We'll start by brainstorming ideas, sorry for the redundancy, for 15 minutes in small groups of 3. After that, each group will present its ideas, and then I'll ask you to vote for the best 3. Finally, we'll draw up a plan of action. Is that clear? Okay, we'll get started now, okay? Right. Now, that was welcoming, yeah? Not outlining the agenda. Do you have an agenda outline already or not? Do you have an idea as a participant now? Do you have an idea what you're going to do? Yes or no? Yes, right? So what are you going to do as the participants? You're going to brainstorm ideas, right? Alone? No, with my friends. 15 minutes. Okay. And then after that, what's going to happen? We're going to present our ideas. Right? It's a group thing. After that, we're going to vote. Okay. Not which one? The best 3. That means which of the ideas, okay, of the groups have the best ideas. 1, 2, 3. When we have agreed on that, then we will draw up a plan of action. What are we going to do for the future, right? So this is already an outline, actually. The chairperson has already outlined, yeah? The second, starting from, we'll start by brainstorming ideas in small groups. Then each group present its ideas. Notice the transitional words. We will start, after that, and then finally. You see that? Those are transitional words, and these are very important, speaking and writing, so that the participants will, if you're writing, transitional words are also very important so that your readers will understand and can follow your ideas. These are the transitional words. So she has actually already outlined the agenda. Yeah? Okay. Now, the purpose. Listen carefully. I might say it's great to see you. Is that correct? Can we just hear this carefully?
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. I must say it's great to see you all again, and I'm really looking forward to our time together over the next 2 days. This is a terrific opportunity for us to share our ideas and concerns, and for you to give your input into the planning process, which is going to shape the future of this company. I don't expect us all to agree on everything, but I want our discussions to be conducted in a spirit of openness and honesty. This morning, we're going to review the past year in terms of how far we have achieved targets set. The purpose is to evaluate our results and to hear about both the successes and the difficulties you've experienced. So by the end of this morning's session, we'll be in a position to make a realistic assessment of last year's results so that we can use it to inform our planning going forward. First things first, though, do you all know each other? I'm going to ask you to say a few words about yourselves by way of introduction. Shall we go round the table?
Me first? Okay.
Okay.
Well, for those who don't know me, my name's Juanita Garcia, and I've been working as Center Manager Madrid for the past 2 years.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
responsible.
I
for-
think you heard some the sentences here. Some of the words were not correct, was not correct, and which one were they? I must say it's great to see you. I'm really looking, again, this is a very common expression. You write and you say this. I'm really looking forward. That goes together. It's templated. Yeah. Every time we write letters, emails, at the end, looking forward to your response. Looking forward to your favorable reply. Something like that. But that's the word. Looking forward to. That's the phrase. Looking forward to. This is, be very careful when you are joining a meeting with foreigners. Sometimes they do not, or sometimes words, you cannot really hear what they're saying clearly. So you might be mistaken between terrible, terrific, what? Okay, terrific. But if you hear the word opportunity for us to share our ideas, context. Oh, she couldn't have said that was something terrible, but it should have been terrific. I misheard that from terrible. Okay, I don't expect us all to agree on. When you agree, okay, do you agree with this, or do you agree on everything? Okay. The purpose is, again, to, when you state purpose, this is again a template, formulaic expression. The purpose is to. The aim is to. What? Followed by, not evaluating, but after to, you need the infinitive form. Okay? To evaluate, to address, to discuss. Okay? Our results, blah, blah, blah. To make a realistic assessment of last year's result, connection. Because we have made an assessment of last year's result, so that these are all transition, yeah, to make your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings conveyed very clearly and understood by people who are listening to you. To make a realistic assessment of last year's results so that we can use whatever it is for the future. If I'm going to ask you to say a few words, she said, by the way, do you know everybody here? Okay. Let's just introduce ourselves. So she asked the participants in the meeting to, I'm going to ask you to say a few words about, you don't say a few words about you. I'm going to ask you to ask a few words about yourselves by the way of introduction, meaning by introducing yourself. All right? Okay.
Well, good morning,
Now, it is better, okay? It is better than when you state the purpose of the meeting, the aim of the meeting. It is better that you use we use that to clause naman yan. To plus the words. Yeah? So instead of saying, at this meeting, we will consider proposals to cut costs, it's like, huh? What are we going to consider? Proposals to cut costs. Oh, okay. It is better and it is much clear, okay, to the whoever is listening, the participants of the meeting, when you say the aim of this meeting is to consider the proposals to cut costs. What are we doing here? To consider. Consider what? Proposals. What proposal? To cut costs. Kalau mau pakai for boleh. But then it's got to be for cutting costs. Remember tadi? To improve, for improving. Got it, yeah? Okay, so you have an option. You have a choice. All right? So instead of saying the meeting today is about agreeing on a strategy for the next 12 months, it is much better to say the purpose of today's meeting. So how are we going to do that? Using the to clause. The purpose of today's meeting, don't forget, is, and then to, and then to what? What's the verb there? Anyone knows? The purpose of today's meeting is to, okay? Think about that. Right? If you don't want to shout it out, just think about it because I'm going to show you the correct answer after this. Think. To apa? Tadi the aim of this meeting is to consider. Look at the verb. The verb, kita ngapain? Verb. We will consider. Oh, so we are here to consider. What are we doing here? The meeting is about agreeing on a strategy. Meaning, the purpose of today's meeting is to verb. Yeah? On a strategy for the next 12 months. We are doing this because instead of saying we are doing this because we need to review our company policy, then we can say this meeting, purpose-nya apa? Is to, what's the verb? It's there. All right? Instead of saying we are meeting today because we need to deal with this crisis quickly, be concise. Padat, ringkas gitu loh. And very clear. The reason for meeting today is to, what's the verb? Okay? So, you should be better words for saying, for stating the purpose, the aims. This could be anything, yeah, not just in meetings. It could be in a presentation, in a negotiation, right? Okay. The aim of this meeting is to consider apa? Proposals to cut costs atau proposals for cutting costs. The purpose of today's meeting is to, what's the verb? Agree on What? A strategy for the next 12 months. You have to make it into very understandable chunks. Potongan-potongan yang mudah dipahami. The purpose of today's meeting. Apa? Is to verb. Agree. Is to discuss. Is to solve. Is to vote. Alright? What? Gitu loh. Karena kalau agree berarti on. Ya. A strategy for the next 12 months. This meeting is to what? Review. Okay. The reason for meeting today, for number 4, is what? To deal. Okay? Make it simple. When you're making this simple, it is also very simple for you to produce the language. Right? Because you are talking to people and you want people to be able to follow you. Okay. So this is stating purpose and aims, right? That's what we say. We use the to clause. Yeah. Now, outlining the agenda. She already outlined the agenda actually, remember? Yeah. Now, if you think okay, I'll ask you again for 1 minute. Your job is now, these are all the transitional words. Okay? When we outline something, that means we need to give them the order. Agenda is an order, right? An agenda. What do we do? What do we start with? What comes next? And then what? How do we end this? Now, these are all transitional markers which tells you the chronological order of what we're going to do in the meeting. So can you figure out, right? Can you figure out which words, okay, which words on the left side here fit the blanks? Take a good look and let's just think. I'm going to give you like 1 minute again just to think this through. Look at this. We'll split up into small groups of 3. This is continue, yeah? This is continue. So this is one whole agenda, all right? One whole outline. So number 4, what do we put here? What do we put here? After splitting up in small groups, we blah, blah, blah as a large group. Okay? Okay. So let's see.
So now we all know who we are. Right. We've got a lot to get through this morning. Please look at the agenda in front of you, and I'll go over the outline for this session. I suggest that we divide our time in the following ways. We'll start with a presentation and general discussion of the results, after which we'll split up into small groups of 3 or 4. This is to enable you to talk through the issues in greater detail, as well as to get to know 2 or 3 of your colleagues a little better. Then, we will reconvene as a large group to hear the main points raised in the small groups. Finally, after the coffee break, you will draw up your list of priorities for the coming 12 months. This will be done in new small groupings. Is that clear? Are there any questions? Is there anything anyone would like to add or comment on? No? Okay. So, let's get going.
Right. So the most important word for me is, I think, to make you realize is the word convene. Yeah. To convene means to get back together again. And usually this comes after breaks. It's very common if you hear MCs at seminars saying, or at conferences saying, after the coffee break, we will convene at 1 o'clock in the same room. Convene. Okay? So, this is what she said. So now we all know who we are because they have introduced themselves, right? Right. And we've got a lot to get through this morning. We will start outline, yeah? This is the outline. Chronological order. We will start with a presentation and a general discussion. After which, we can put after which here. After which means which is what? After the presentation and the general discussion. Which here refers, it's a reference word, refers to the previous. Okay? After which we will split up into small groups of 3 or 4. Remember? Small groups of 3. Yeah? Okay. Or 4. Then we will reconvene because we have split up into small groups. Afterwards, we reconvene as a large group. Come back together to hear the main points, blah, blah, blah. Finally, after the coffee break, you will draw up, remember the word draw up, the phrase draw up, your list of priorities. Okay, so let's get going. Right? Okay. All right, and you have to check once in a while, right? You have to check every like 20 minutes if you have a 60-minute meeting. After one person is blah, 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 giving ideas, sometimes you need to check whether the others understand. Are you following or not? Okay, you check. And how do you check understanding? I ask this all the time. You got that? Clear? Done? That's the way I check. Yeah? Listen. Which, okay, can you listen? Which of the following, all right, from 8, these are all checking expressions if you want to check. Yeah, whether you're whatever. It could be in a presentation, but in meetings, you need to check whether the participants are really listening and following to you. So these are all the expressions that you can use. You follow me? Is there any question? You still with me? Right? Which of these do you hear?
Is that clear? Are there any questions? Is there anything anyone would like to add or comment on? No? Okay. So, let's get going.
So, what did you hear? Is that clear? Are there any questions? Is there anything anyone would like to add or comment on? And if no one is asking a question, no one is raising their hands, it means that, oh, no? Okay, so let's get going. All right? Okay, so we have a question. Yes, there are questions. Okay, so I'm going to stop here because I need to answer some questions. That's why I'm checking. We have questions. That means we have to answer some questions, and we will move on. Don't forget, next week at the same time we will. This is just from the chair part, but in the meetings there are lots of things that the chair has to do. Yeah. So this is the part, the opening, right? And we will be discussing next week the presentation part, okay, and the participants part. Okay. Yes, Hasna. What
All right.
questions must I answer?
All right, Buhafil, we received a question
Mm-hmm.
from Facebook. It's
Mhm.
from Hasana.
Mm-hmm.
She asked, is every meeting need to have fixed positions as you've mentioned? What happens if one is missing?
Okay. So let's say the time, yeah, make sure that the leader is not missing, yeah. Because if the leader is missing, that means the meeting is cancelled, all right, or postponed. But if the timekeeper is missing, the what is that? The note taker is missing. That is the decision of the leader to replace the missing role. Okay, that's one of the things. That's why you have a leader. That's why you have the chairperson, because then the person has to decide who's going to take over, who's going to replace the timekeeper or the note taker.
All right, it depends, ya Bu. It will be best if we pass it to the leader, so the leader would decide which
Yes.
way works best for that meeting.
Yeah.
All right, I think so far we just received only one question. You
Oh,
may
okay. Great.
yes, thank you.
Yes, go ahead. We have a question, Hasna.
My next question coming from my side. So,
Mhm.
if my background about the meeting itself, sometimes we make a meeting
Mhm.
didn't solve until 2 months, 3 months. So, in your opinion, what is the effective meetings means for you? Yeah. And the second one, about my opinion also, since I have experience meeting and working with foreigners. Sometimes if I compare to Indonesian people, we sometimes we have so many procedure, we have musyawara voting too much, and um, how to make sure about dynamic of the meeting more smooth, and also get the result accept, and also how to make it straightforward, because sometimes we make much more bridging, like um, bridging, yeah, not straightforward, I mean, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. The first question, I'm not really sure. The first question was how again? What is the effective meeting? Because you said about like months. You said about sometimes it.
Yeah, sometimes when we make a meeting didn't solve until 2 months, 3 months.
Ah, that means the topic of the meeting,
Yes.
and then you need to have a resolution, something like that.
Yes,
A
as soon as
solution, but
possible.
it's not. It's never solved
Yeah,
to
until 2 months, 3 months, like that.
forever. Okay. Number one, that's why it must be very clear in the beginning. Yeah, must be very clear. What is the purpose of the meeting? Kan? To find a solution, right? So that must be clearly stated. To find a solution to these problems. We have problems number one, problems number two, problems number three. We need to find a solution. Three solutions, that means, right? Okay. And time frame. There must be a time frame, meaning that depending on the complexity of the problem, some problems can be solved in just one meeting, right? But some problems are so complex because it involves a lot of parties, as you said, musyawarah. Berarti there is party A, party B, party C, right? And involves a lot of people. Therefore, it cannot, the resolution or the solution cannot take place through just one meeting. But again, agenda is very important. So you have to set the target. We have to finish in a month, right? We have to have a solution in a month. How many meetings do we need? Okay? To come with a solution. Maybe we need to meet every week. Maybe we need to meet twice a week. But we need to come to a solution. So the first meeting, when you have the problem already, make sure that you analyze it and understand what's the problem. What do we have? What steps do we have to do to find the solution? By creating those steps, then you will also create the agenda for meeting number 2, meeting number 3, meeting number 4. You got that? So at least you have an outline, not of one meeting, but lots of meeting. Time frame, ya, deadline harus ada. Okay? So that's my suggestion, so that it will be on track. Paling nggak on track lah. And if we don't finish, udah 1 month, but we haven't finished. So that means that that's a failure on our part. And it cannot happen again. You can reset it, but you need to finish it. Okay. Question number 2 was again, how so to make Indonesians going in circle. Believe me, I have a staff who's like that. Yeah. When she gives ideas, opinions, then she goes all over, as I said, details, details, details. You have to train people. Itu chair loh. The chairperson is the one who has to, as I said, stop. Okay? Chairperson is like a moderator. Dia loh yang moderate. He's the one or she's the one who has to say, thank you. I understand, right? But you are not answering the question. I ask you a question. Can you just simplify? Can you make it brief? Just state the why and the how. Titik. You don't have to state who does it, when it happened. Just tell me what happened and why. Then we will find out how to solve it. You get it? Chairnya yang mesti tegas and must use time frame. Okay? I hope that helps. Yeah? Okay. Thank you. And I think it's showing 0000, right? This time? Yeah. Okay. So I don't have more time, right? So I'm going to hand it over back to Hasna.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much, Bu Hafil, for today's very informative session. As usual, we always enjoy the session. So earlier in this event, we asked the audience a question, and the question for today was true or false? The body language is not important in conducting meetings, and the correct answer to that is false. Beside our choice of words, our gesture, posture, and facial expressions convey powerful messages to the people we are talking to. Shout out to today's lucky one at MH Fabrian and from Instagram for answering correctly. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in our social media quiz. Don't forget to tune in next and catch your chance to get a live shout out from us. And now, do you want to develop more brilliant ideas with a platform like this? It's easy as ABC. you can simply go to our website at www.atmerica.or.id, select create an event, and go to collaborate with us. All given proposals will be reviewed and your event might be featured here soon. You can also subscribe to our newsletter if you find yourself enjoying this event so you can stay updated with our upcoming event as well. Follow us on our social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at ATMerica for interesting contents, giveaways, and so much more. Also, click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. With that, it is time to say farewell. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Hasna. See you on the next At America event. Bye bye, everybody.